Chapter 41. The Rebirth in the Classroom. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 41. The Rebirth in the Classroom. Ah. A terrified voice sounded, shocking everyone. Gu Qingchen, what are you doing? This is a classroom, not a place for you to sleep. If you want to sleep, then sleep properly. Who told you to disturb the order of the classroom? Get out and stand in the corridor for punishment. It was a woman's voice, which sounded a little familiar. Gu Qingchen took a few deep breaths and gradually felt the pain in her head weaken a lot. She did not die. She had clearly heard the researcher say that she was already dead, and the suffocating feeling of death was still vivid in her mind. Gu Qingchen felt a splitting headache, and she grabbed her head hard. Why are you dawdling? Hurry up and get out of here. Suddenly, she felt a pain in her head. Something had smashed her head. Gu Qingchen slowly raised her head, and there was half-used chalk on the desk. It must be this object that has attacked her. Gu Qingchen stared blankly at the chalk. Enduring the pain in her head, she slowly raised her head and looked at her surroundings. Then, she began to think quickly. This was clearly her first at your high school classroom. It was her high school homeroom teacher who had thrown the chalk at her. Why was she here? What on earth had happened? Wasn't she supposed to be in the laboratory? Wasn't she dead? Gu Qingchen was still in a trance as she stood in the corridor. She could not tell if this was reality or an illusion. Everything here seemed so real, and she also felt pain. After Gu Qingchen pinched herself for the 11th time, she could confirm that she was really not dead. Or rather, she had been reborn after her death. Then what was the situation now? What year had she been reborn to? Gu Qingchen's mind was a little confused, but she quickly sorted out her thoughts and her mind slowly cleared up. Her father had gone bankrupt. This should have happened 2 days ago, and she had felt a splitting headache just now because she had been hit by someone during class. It seemed that she had not been dealt with after being hit on the head. When she returned to the classroom for her lesson, there was a problem with her brain, and she had accidentally died in class. Then, due to a strange combination of events, she had accidentally returned to her own body. Gu Qingchen had never expected that she would actually return here again. For a moment, she had mixed feelings. Was she going to walk the same path again? No. Since the heavens had given her a second chance, she would definitely not walk the same path. Her parents had not been forced to death. She wanted to defy the heavens and change her fate. She wanted to completely change her life. Ring. The bell rang for the end of the class. The class had ended, and Gu Qingchen was still standing there. Oh, isn't this the famous rich girl in our school? Why is she so pitiful, getting standing punishment? Isn't she on good terms with the teachers? Which teacher would be willing to punish her? Ha ha ha. Oh my God, don't you know? I heard that her family went bankrupt. She's not a rich girl now. Her family is in debt, and she's even poorer than the poor. Exactly. In the past, she abused her powers and acted like a tyrant in school because of her family's wealth. Humph, things have changed. The gods have eyes. Hee, the throne of the school's #1 popular and beautiful girl should be replaced. Wei, I've always thought that you're prettier than her. In the past, she relied on her family's wealth to snatch the position of the school's most popular and beautiful girl. Now, that disgusting woman has finally left and given up her position for the real girl. The girl called Wei was Gu Qingchen's sworn enemy. Her name was Wei, and she was also from a wealthy family. However, her family was not as rich as Gu Qingchen's family, and she was not as beautiful as Gu Qingchen. Her studies were not as good as Gu Qingchen's, and she had always regarded Gu Qingchen as her sworn enemy. Of course, most people knew that there was another thing that Wei hated Gu Qingchen the most. The boy she liked had already confessed to Gu Qingchen. Although Gu Qingchen had not agreed, she did not refuse either. Gu Qingchen also had a good impression of that boy. In the past, all the glory revolved around Gu Qingchen. Now that Gu Qingchen's father's business had failed and her family was in decline, the happiest person was none other than Shi Wei. The friends who used to follow Gu Qingchen all day long were now following Shi Wei and became her followers. In order to flatter Shi Wei, they would even laugh at Gu Qingchen together. The injury on Gu Qingchen's head today was also done by these people whom Shi Wei instructed. The Gu Qingchen in the past had never thought that these friends, who usually cared for her, would actually have such ugly faces under their masks. If it was in the past, Gu Qingchen might still be sad about it. But now, Gu Qingchen was reborn. She had long experienced the coldness and warmth of the human world. No one could defeat her emotionally. Shi Wei saw that Gu Qingchen was silent and was not angry because of their taunts. She looked indifferent, which made her very unhappy. Gu Qingchen, your family is bankrupt. Don't be so shameless and pester Gu. He has already promised to have dinner with me tonight. If you know what's good for you, don't bother us anymore. It's best if you get out of our school. Just looking at you annoys me. Shi Wei stood there arrogantly like a queen. She looked at Gu Qingchen with disdain and ridicule, as well as feeling prideful. The tides have turned. She could finally ride on Gu Qingchen's back. This was her dream. Oh my God, is this true? Wei Wei, you're going on a date with the most popular and handsome guy in our school, Gu. I'm so envious of you. Didn't Gu confess to you? Fortunately, our great handsome guy Gu has good eyesight and didn't choose that stray dog. He knows how to appreciate our Wei Wei's beauty. Yeah, in my opinion, only Wei Wei and Gu are the best match in our school. Some people are just craving for something that they are not worthy of. Humph. These girls who were mocking Gu Qingchen behind her back were all Gu Qingchen's former friends. When Gu Qingchen heard their words again, her heart didn't waver at all, as if they were supposed to be like this. Shi Wei was coaxed by the crowd that she laughed very hard. She looked at Gu Qingchen proudly. Gu Qingchen, do you also think that Gu and I are the best match? Gu Qingchen, who had been silent all this time, finally raised her head and looked at the arrogant Shi Wei with a cold smile on her lips. It was like fireworks in the dark, making people unable to look away. Just as Shi Wei's expression changed and was about to make trouble, Gu Qingchen curled her lips contemptuously and said meaningfully, the two of you are indeed a perfect match. That's right, a perfect match, a pair of toads. Before she went bankrupt, Gu Qingchen had always thought that Gu truly liked her. However, she later found out that what Gu liked was her family background and, of course, her beauty. However, when she lost her strong family background despite having her beauty, everything became meaningless. At the same time, it allowed her to see the faces of many people clearly. The world was so realistic. Chapter 42. Mind Reading Superpower. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 42. Mind Reading Superpower. Hearing Gu Qingchen's words, Shi Wei's darkened expression brightened again. She finally heard from Gu Qingchen that she and Gu were the best match. Ha ha ha, Gu Qingchen, I didn't expect something like that would happen to you. I'm in a good mood today, so I'll let you off. You can go now. Gu Qingchen looked at Shi Wei indifferently. Shi Wei had a bright smile on her face, but she still looked at Gu Qingchen coldly. Humph, Gu Qingchen, do you think that by flattering me, everything in the past can be written off? Everything has just begun. I'll make sure you have a miserable time. Gu Qingchen's whole body shook violently as if her mind was bombarded by something. A sentence like this entered her ears. She could hear that it was Shi Wei's voice, but Shi Wei clearly did not speak. What on earth was going on? Gu Qingchen looked at Shi Wei again, but she couldn't hear anything. When she gazed at the people around Shi Wei, all kinds of voices entered her ears again. Gu Qingchen is finally done for, and now Shi Wei has stolen the limelight. I'm really unhappy. And Gu will go on a date with her. TCH, it must be her who is pestering my Ngu. What a shameless woman. Sigh, it's so annoying to face Shi Wei all day long. She's even more arrogant than Gu Qingchen, thinking that the whole world belongs to her. Humph. The more Gu Qingchen listened, the more shocked she became. Her eyes were full of surprise. After so many years of being calm, she did not panic and did not show it on her face. She gently raised her hand and covered her ears, but the sound still did not stop. The sound rushed into her head, and Gu Qingchen felt that her head was about to explode. They clearly did not speak, but why did she hear all this? Could it be that those were their innermost thoughts and feelings? She could read minds. Such a thought suddenly popped into her head. She had watched television before, and there had been people with superpowers in it, and mind-reading was one of them. Since television dramas were all lies, the ending would have a "this story is purely fictional, and if there is a coincidence, it is purely coincidental" label. Gu Qingchen found it hard to believe that such a thing could happen to her. However, even the biggest impossibility had happened to her. She could be reborn, and with mind-reading, it did not seem so hard to accept. In other words, not only was she reborn, but she also had a mind-reading superpower. Did this mean that she could completely change her life? Thinking of this, Gu Qingchen's heart was beating strongly in her chest. It seemed that she had not felt excited for many years. Humph, I'll watch Gu Qingchen's show later. If the teacher finds out that Shi Wei's wallet is in Gu Qingchen's bag, it will be a great show. Gu Qingchen met Ma Shihan's eyes and heard all this in her head. Gu Qingchen's expression changed slightly as she looked deeply at Ma Shihan. She remembered that Ma Shihan was the only person who did not ridicule her after her family had changed. She did not expect that the truth would be like this. The truth was indeed the cruelest. If the Gu Qingchen in the past was pure and kind, then the current Gu Qingchen was cruel and cold. Not taking revenge was not her motto. Her motto was simple: take revenge immediately. She would not wait until the next day because she did not know if she could still live for another day. After many years in the real world, Gu Qingchen had developed such a temperament. Her cold nature was the best explanation for her current situation. While everyone was flattering Shi Wei, Gu Qingchen had already quietly entered the classroom. There were still people cleaning the classroom. Gu Qingchen's seat was in the middle while Ma Shihan sat not far from Gu Qingchen. If Ma Shihan stole Shi Wei's wallet and put it in her school bag during the class break, it was entirely possible. Gu Qingchen calmly touched her school bag, and her hands paused slightly. There was indeed a wallet in her school bag. In other words, she really had the superpower and could read other people's thoughts. Gu Qingchen was silent for a moment, then quickly took out the wallet and stuffed it into Ma Shihan's school bag. The series of actions were very fast, and no one saw it. Gu Qingchen sat there calmly, thinking about how she suddenly had the superpower. She still needed to test it a few more times to see how the superpower could be used. However, it was better for her to use it as little as possible, because every time she used it, she would feel a headache. Maybe she had just started to have a superpower, and she was still not used to it. Soon, the bell rang again. Everyone returned to their seats. Ma Shihan stole a glance at Gu Qingchen and then sat in her seat as if nothing had happened. Ah! Where's my wallet? Shi Wei's voice was very loud. Even the teacher who had just entered the classroom heard it. She frowned and put down the book in her hand. What happened? The one who spoke was Lu Ying, the homeroom teacher of 3rd year class 1. This lesson was hers. As soon as she entered the classroom, she heard Shi Wei say that her wallet was gone. Of course, she paid extra attention to it. Did you misplace it? Look carefully again. It shouldn't be lost in school. Lu Ying's class had never had stolen incidents. She didn't expect that a student's wallet would be lost today. No, I've looked for it several times. I'm sure I have lost my wallet. It was still with me during class just now. It must have been stolen. Shi Wei was furious. Someone actually dared to steal her money. If she caught that person, she would not let them off easily. Seeing Shi Wei so angry, Lu Ying also knew that the situation was grave. She looked at the crowd solemnly and said sternly, "If any student accidentally took Shi Wei's wallet, I hope that you would take out the wallet. This has never happened in our class, and we don't allow such things to happen. If anyone accidentally took it, hand it over now, and I won't pursue the matter." Having been a teacher for so many years, Lu Ying naturally knew how to deal with the current situation. Saying these words was just to put psychological pressure on the students. If someone really admitted that they had taken the wrong wallet by accident, how could Lu Ying not pursue the incident? Everyone was whispering. They looked at each other, but no one came forward to admit it. "Ms. Lu, why don't we conduct a bag search? If it was taken by a classmate, then there is no other place to hide it. We just need to search, and we will know." Unexpectedly, the first person to speak was actually Ma Shihan. Hearing this, Shi Wei immediately nodded in agreement. "That's right, let's do a bag search. I want to see who dares to steal my things." Although everyone did not want their bags to be searched, due to Shi Wei's background and Lu Ying's insistence, all of them agreed to the bag search. Gu Qingchen was calm. She saw Ma Shihan's lips curling up slightly as if she was pleased with the success of her plot. In a while, she would not be able to laugh anymore. She was really full of herself trying to scheme in front of Gu Qingchen. She had lived many years longer than these children. Now that she had been reborn, she could even read minds. To try and play tricks with her was too silly. The teacher checked one by one and soon, it was Gu Qingchen's turn. As expected, Gu Qingchen saw that Ma Shihan had a playful look in her eyes, as if she was waiting to watch a show. Chapter 43. The Stolen Wallet Incident. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 43. The stolen wallet incident. However, when Lu Ying searched Gu Qingchen's backpack and desk, she did not find Shi Wei's wallet. Ma Shihan was stunned. Her eyes were filled with disbelief. She had clearly put Shi Wei's wallet into Gu Qingchen's backpack. She could easily see it if she flipped through it. Why was there no wallet? Gu Qingchen looked up and met Ma Shihan's stunned gaze. The corners of her lips curled up faintly. The teasing in her eyes was something that Ma Shihan was not familiar with. When Ma Shihan saw it, her heart sank, and she panicked. Why did this happen? Suddenly, Ma Shihan had a foreboding. But before she could think about it carefully, Lu Ying had already searched her area. Because it involved stealing, Lu Ying had to do it herself. When Lu Ying poured out the things in Ma Shihan's bag, a pink wallet fell out. Boom! Ah! Oh my God! Isn't this Shi Wei's wallet? Why is it with Ma Shihan? So, it was Ma Shihan who stole the wallet. This is unbelievable. It was actually Ma Shihan who stole it. I really can't tell. Isn't she on good terms with Shi Wei? Why would she do such a thing? For a moment, the class was very lively. Everyone was discussing and whispering. They looked at Ma Shihan as if they were looking at a thief. Ma Shihan was stunned. She had obviously put Shi Wei's wallet into Gu Qingchen's bag. How could it appear in her bag? Impossible, this was definitely impossible. It wasn't me. It wasn't me who stole it. It was Gu Qingchen. She must have framed me. Ma Shihan panicked and pointed at Gu Qingchen. You were the one who stole the wallet. I get it, you're trying to frame me. Everyone was surprised that things had taken such a big turn. Who was the thief between Ma Shihan and Gu Qingchen? Shi Wei looked at Ma Shihan and then Gu Qingchen, and then spoke in a suspicious tone, "As far as I know, Ma Shirhan's family background is pretty well. To.do, she doesn't need to steal other people's wallets. As for some people, whose family has gone bankrupt, should be in a hurry to use money, right?" Although Wei didn't say that it was Gu Qingchen who stole the money, she was leading the crowd to suspect Gu Qingchen. Wei didn't care whether it was Gu Qingchen who stole it or not. Now that there was such an opportunity, she would never give up the chance to humiliate Gu Qingchen. Yeah, Ma Shirhan's family is not short of money. There's no need to steal Wei's wallet. There hasn't been any theft in our class before. How could someone lose their wallet as soon as someone's family has gone bankrupt? Isn't that too much of a coincidence? With Wei as the starting point, there were naturally many people who liked to add insult to injury. And the someone they were referring to was naturally Gu Qingchen. Gu Qingchen looked at these people coldly. It turned out that the ugliness of human nature had already been revealed when they were still underage. It was just that the current ugliness was something that many people did not realize. "Gu Qingchen, did you take this wallet or not?" Even the homeroom teacher, Lu Ying, looked at Gu Qingchen sternly, thinking that what the students had said made sense. Gu Qingchen sneered. Lu Ying had always been snobbish. At this time, it was normal to trample on her. Although she was a teacher, who stipulated those teachers should have morals. "Ms. Lu, your question seems a little ridiculous. You found the wallet in Ma Shirhan's school bag with your own hands, but now you're asking me instead. Accusing a student is not something that an upright teacher should do, right?" Lu Ying was choked by Gu Qingchen's accusation. She looked embarrassed and almost couldn't hold herself back. She had indeed found the wallet in Ma Shirhan's bag with her own hands. It seemed that it was her fault to accuse Gu Qingchen without any evidence. However, Lu Ying couldn't embarrass herself in front of the students. She coughed lightly and said in a serious tone, "But why did Ma Shirhan say that you stole it? There are so many students in the class. Why didn't she accuse others? Why did she accuse you?" As expected of a teacher, she always found all kinds of excuses. If it were the old Gu Qingchen, she might be afraid of this teacher. But now, Gu Qingchen was not even afraid of death. How could she be afraid of a mere teacher? "Ms. Lu, shouldn't you ask Ma Shirhan such a question? Actually, this matter is very simple. You can just call the police. Stealing is not a small crime. I believe that the police will be more impartial and will speak with facts instead of judging based on personal feelings." Gu Qingchen did not give in at all. With a stern expression, she even took the initiative to call the police. Initially, some of the boys in the class thought that Gu Qingchen might have stolen it. Now, they felt that it should not be Gu Qingchen. If it were her, Gu Qingchen would definitely not have called the police. Lu Ying's face alternated between red and white. She subconsciously adjusted her glasses. "Call the police? Definitely not. If this matter is blown up, it won't benefit me at all. I have to think of a way to solve it." Gu Qingchen looked at Lu Ying and read her mind. Gu Qingchen could not help but sneer. This was the homeroom teacher. When something happened to a student, she was not thinking about how to find out the truth and clear the student's name. Instead, she was thinking about her own future. "Of course, even if Ms. Lu doesn't call the police, for the sake of my innocence, I will call the police. Nowadays, technology is very advanced. If I really touched the wallet, my fingerprints will be on the wallet. If someone else touched the wallet, there will definitely be fingerprints on the wallet. It will be very easy to determine who is the thief." When Gu Qingchen first touched the wallet, she took it with her clothes, so her fingerprints were not on the wallet. When she heard this, Ma Shirhan almost lost her balance. Her eyes were erratic and full of guilt. She was such a scheming person, but after all, she was still a minor. When she heard that the police would find out who the thief was, she could not pretend to be calm anymore. Gu Qingchen was calm. Compared to Ma Shirhan's panic, anyone with eyes could see who stole the wallet. Many boys had a good impression of Ma Shirhan in the past, but now it was completely overturned. On the other hand, Gu Qingchen was calm in the face of false accusations, which attracted the attention of many boys. Shi Wei glared at Ma Shirhan. Her eyes rolled and she suddenly opened her mouth and said, "Ms. Liu, it slipped my mind. The zipper of my school bag had problems this morning. After I used my wallet, I asked Ma Shirhan to help me keep it first. I didn't find my wallet just now and forgot about it. It was all a misunderstanding. Let's just forget about it." Shi Wei's smile was very forced. Everyone could see that she was trying to smooth things over for Ma Shirhan. Gu Qingchen even read a few boys' thoughts that Shi Wei was quite kind and was willing to smooth things over for Ma Shirhan. Be calm. After reading all this, Gu Qingchen laughed. Although Shi Wei was a little arrogant, she was not any better than Ma Shirhan. She did it on purpose. She deliberately used such a lame lie to smooth things over for Ma Shirhan, as if to give Ma Shirhan a way out. However, in reality, she had gained a lot of popularity and won the favor of most people. Ma Shirhan was even more grateful to Shi Wei. It seemed that she had really misjudged Shi Wei in the past. She was another scheming woman. A farce was resolved just like that. Gu Qingchen and Shi Wei were both winners, and Ma Shirhan was the only one who lost. On the surface, Ma Shirhan didn't seem to be too embarrassed, but in the hearts of the boys in the class, they secretly labeled Ma Shirhan. Many boys used to think that Ma Shirhan was beautiful and kind, but now they felt that Ma Shirhan was a scheming person. Subconsciously, they all distanced themselves from her. After school that night, under the ridicule of Shi Wei and the others, Gu Qingchen left the school. Those wolves in sheep's clothing and conniving bitches were really not worth her effort to deal with. Chapter 44. A visit from top-notch relatives. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 44. A visit from top-notch relatives. Gu Qingchen returned home according to her past memories. Previously, her house was a small villa. Because her father went bankrupt, the villa had already been mortgaged to pay off the debt. Now, the family of 3 lived in a rented house. The old-fashioned building was very simple and crude and the environment was very poor. "Dad, Mom, I'm back." Gu Qingchen had not called out "Dad, Mom" for many years. She only had the opportunity to call out a few times when she visited the grave every year. At this moment, she was actually a little excited and was filled with endless emotions. Gu Qingchen's mother poked her head out from the kitchen. When she saw her daughter coming back, she smiled gently, but her eyes were filled with helplessness and heartache. Gu Qingchen never had the chance to experience these things before. She would never let her family go down a dead end now that she was reborn. "Mom, where's Dad?" Gu Qingchen had calculated that there was less than a month left. After her father went bankrupt, he would end up suffering so much that he would commit suicide. Her mother would also die of depression. In other words, she had less than a month to change the current situation. If it was anyone else, they would not be able to do much in less than a month. However, Gu Qingchen was different now. After she came back to life, she found out that she had a superpower, and compared to others, she would have a better chance of turning the situation around. That's right. She could read minds and read other people's thoughts. She had an advantage. However, she had to calm her father's emotions first. She must not let her father commit suicide before she could turn the situation around. She did not know if her sudden rebirth would affect history. She had heard of the butterfly effect. She must not affect her father's state just because of her arrival. "Your dad is making a phone call in the house. You should finish your homework first. Dinner will be ready soon." Looking at her mother cooking in the smoke, Gu Qingchen's eyes were wet. She clenched her fists tightly. She wanted to change the current situation, turn the tides, and fight against fate to the end. Gu Qingchen pushed the door open and heard her father's voice coming from inside. I am already preparing the money. As long as there is money, I will immediately return it to you. I will not default on the workers' wages. You tell them to wait a little longer. Even if I have to sell everything, I will not owe them anything. Her father was such a person. No matter what he did not want to owe anyone. It was because of his character that he realized that he could not repay the debt and chose to commit suicide. Gu Yuanchuan hung up the phone and pinched his forehead tiredly. Just as he turned around, he saw Gu Qingchen looking at him with a pained expression. His heart immediately warmed, and he waved at Gu Qingchen. Chen, you're back. Come and sit. How was school today? Did anyone bully you? He was bankrupt, and Gu Qingchen's status must have changed as well. He was not afraid of being stabbed in the back, but he felt heartache for his daughter and could not bear to let her suffer with him. Gu Qingchen smiled and walked towards Gu Yuanchuan. She sat beside him and said, Don't worry, Dad. Everything is fine at school. You don't have to worry about me. Who was the one who called just now? Were they rushing for the workers' wages? Gu Yuanchuan owned a timber factory and had many workers working under him. Now that he was bankrupt, the workers' wages could not be paid. Gu Yuanchuan must be worried. Gu Yuanchuan forced a smile and patted Gu Qingchen's head. Don't worry, Chen. Dad will take care of it. I won't let you suffer along with me. Gu Qingchen's expression went blank for a moment and her heart tightened. She was worried that Gu Yuanchuan might have suicidal thoughts and immediately said, Dad, no matter how hard the days are, for me, as long as the family is together, complete and whole, that's happiness. Don't worry, Dad. I think things will turn around. Everything will be fine. Hearing Gu Qingchen's words, Gu Yuanchuan's heart warmed up. He nodded heavily, and hope lit up in his eyes. His daughter was right. As long as the family was still together, there was nothing that could not be overcome. The family of three sat together for a meal. This was something that Gu Qingchen had not experienced in many years. She was extremely excited. Finally, they could be reunited as a family again. It was great. However, some people always liked to ruin beautiful things. It was annoying. These people were Gu Qingchen's relatives. What were these relatives here for? Of course, they were here to collect debts. After Gu Yuanchuan went bankrupt, not only did they not help, but they also stabbed Gu Yuanchuan in the heart. Gu Qingchen looked at these relatives with undisguised hatred in her eyes. If they had not forced him, her father would not have chosen to commit suicide, she would not have become an orphan, and she would not have embarked on the path of a drug tester. Big brother, don't blame me for not caring about family ties. As the saying goes, brothers should settle scores. Even if I am your younger brother, I cannot be dragged down by you. I still have a family to support. Do not involve others since you did not manage the business properly and went bankrupt. Gu Yuanchuan's second brother, Gu Yuangua, had a cold expression on his face. His tone was also very harsh. He did not respect Gu Yuanchuan at all. That's right. What does your bankruptcy have to do with us? Why should we be implicated by you? Please don't implicate others if you don't know how to manage it. Big brother, when you started the timber factory, we also pooled in money too. Although we didn't take much money at that time, we were still one of the shareholders, right? Now, because of your mistake, the timber factory has gone bankrupt. We want our money back. We don't want much. $500,000 will be fine. The one who spoke in a strange tone was Gu Yuangua's wife, who was also Gu Qingchen's second aunt, Dong Guiyun. Her second aunt was sarcastic and calculative. In the past, she always liked to come to Gu Qingchen's house to take advantage of them. Now that Gu Qingchen's family has gone bankrupt, she changed. $500,000. Are you robbing me? Back then, you only provided me with $10,000. Gu Yuanchuan cried out in surprise. At the same time, he was also furious. These were his biological younger brother and sister. Law. In the past, they liked to take advantage of him, but he also turned a blind eye to them. He never expected that these two people would come to his door at this time. Not only did they want to sever their relationship with him, but they also even asked for $500,000. Gu Yuangua opened his mouth slyly. $500,000 is considered not much. As long as you give me $500,000, I definitely won't come looking for you in the future. Of course, it's best that you don't come looking for me either. You're in debt now. You have to make it clear to those people. You can pay for your debt yourself. It has nothing to do with our Gu family. Gu Yuanchuan was so angry that he laughed instead. If not for his wife and children being here, he really wanted to give Gu Yuangua a good beating. Then, he saw Gu Yuanyu, the third younger brother behind Gu Yuangua. Gu Yuanchuan sneered. What about you? Are you here to ask for money too? Gu Yuanyu hesitated for a moment, then said, Big brother, I'm not here to ask for money, but... But what? If you want to say it, just say it. Don't hesitate. Gu Yuanchuan was also a hot-tempered person. He had thought about the terrible situation after bankruptcy, but he did not expect that the reality was even bleaker than he had imagined. Chapter 45. Using Wisdom to Fight Evil Relatives. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 45. Using wisdom to fight evil relatives. In the end, Gu Yuanyu said, Mom told me to tell you not to involve her in your affairs and not to have any designs on her. Her money is for her retirement, not to fill a bottomless pit for you. It turned out that Gu Yuanyu was here to convey the old lady's message. The old lady lived with Gu Yuanyu, but Gu Yuanchuan's family did not mistreat the old lady at all. If there was anything good, they would immediately send it to the old lady. Every year during the new year, Gu Yuanchuan would give the old lady a large sum of money to show his respect. He did not expect that at this moment, even his own mother wanted to draw a clear line with him. Ha 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 ha. Go back and tell her that no matter how bad my situation is, I will not have any designs on her. As expected, the world is cold and hypocritical, and morality has degenerated. When I was successful, you guys were in a hurry to suck up to me. Now that I am down and out, you guys are in a hurry to ask for money and cut ties. I finally see through you people. Gu Yuanchuan smiled as if he had been through some vicissitudes of life. His heart was completely cold. They were all his family, but the ones who hurt him the most were also these people. When Dong Guiyun heard this, she was unhappy. Big brother, we don't like it when you talk like that. What do you mean by we were sucking up to you? We became a shareholder of that timber factory back then. How did it become sucking up to you? Also, it's only right that we draw a line between us and you. If it were you, you would also do the same. Don't talk as if we owe you. It's you who owes us. If it weren't for you, would the timber factory have gone bankrupt? You've caused us to lose our income, yet you're still criticizing us. Dong Guiyun had always been a smooth talker. She exaggerates, and she had never been at a disadvantage in an argument. Gu Qingchen stared coldly at these three so-called relatives, her entire being exuding a cold aura. It looks like Big Brother really doesn't have any money. No, even if he doesn't have $500,000, I still have to scrape off a layer of skin from him. A few days ago, I even promised Xiao Chui that I'd buy her a gold chain. When Gu Qingchen looked at her second uncle Gu Yuangua and read these words from his mind, the corner of her mouth curled up into a sneer. Greed was human nature. Our family definitely doesn't have $500,000, but we can give you $50,000. Back then, you only pooled in $10,000, and all the business management was done by my father. In these few years, you have also received a lot of dividends from my father. Giving you $50,000 is already very good. Gu Qingchen's words were very cold. It was completely different from her usual image of a sweet princess. When everyone heard Gu Qingchen's words, they were all stunned. They looked at Gu Qingchen as if they were looking at another person. Also, uncle, you can go back and report. We will pay the debts that our family owes ourselves. We will never implicate others. Since you came today, you must want to sever ties with our family. I also hope that once our Gu family becomes rich in the future, you won't be thick-skinned to come and visit us as our relatives. These words actually came from Gu Qingchen's mouth. It was too shocking. It was as if she had slapped someone a few times. Everyone was flabbergasted. On normal days, Gu Qingchen was the most gentle and well-mannered. She was also recognized as a well-behaved child and was also very kind. Today, she had said these words. It was really too shocking. Uncle Gu Yuanyu was a little embarrassed after being ridiculed by Gu Qingchen. Wasn't it obvious that she was saying that they were vain? When they saw that Gu Qingchen's family was rich, they would flatter them. When they were down, they would also push them down. No matter how thick-skinned he was, his face felt hot when he was mocked by a junior. It was as if someone had slapped him in front of everyone. Ahem, I still have something to do. I've passed on Mom's message. I'll leave first. Initially, Gu Yuanyu was not here to ask for money. He was just here to draw a clear line. After being ridiculed by Gu Qingchen, he was embarrassed to stay here any longer as he was someone who cared about his reputation. He quickly found an excuse to leave. Gu Yuanyu still had a little humanity. Gu Yuanhua did not care so much. Since he was here to ask for money today, he had to squeeze all the money out of Gu Qingchen's family first. Gu Qingchen, adults are talking. You are just a child. What are you meddling in? You don't understand anything, so you should step aside. You have no right to speak here. Second uncle Gu Yuanhua waved his hand impatiently at Gu Qingchen and frowned. He did not like Gu Qingchen very much. BDNVL.M Gu Qingchen looked at second uncle Gu Yuanhua coldly. Second uncle has quite a lot of personal savings in his hands. It should be at least $100,000. If you want $500,000, it's easy. As long as you take out the $100,000 and give it to us for turnover, when the company's profits are good, not to mention $500,000, taking out $5 million is also possible. What? $1 million. When Gu Qingchen said it, everyone present was shocked again. They all looked at Gu Yuanhua, especially Gu Yuanhua's wife Dong Guiyun. What's going on? What personal savings? What 1 million? Where did you get so much money? You better tell me clearly today. How dare you hide so much money from me? Tell me, why did you hide so much money? Are you trying to fool around outside? Dong Guiyun was like a machine gun. After talking for a long time, Gu Yuanhua's expression in his eyes became erratic. Finally, he laughed and coaxed her, "Honey, don't listen to that wretched girl's nonsense. I don't have any personal savings. My money has always been handed to you to manage. You also know that when I go out to eat with others, I have to report it to you in advance. How can I have an affair?" Gu Yuanhua glared at Gu Qingchen. "You wretched girl, what nonsense are you talking about? Be careful or I'll beat you up." When Gu Yuanchuan saw this, he immediately pulled his daughter behind him, afraid that his second brother would get angry and hurt his own daughter. Gu Qingchen patted her father's hand and stood out from behind him, facing Gu Yuanhua. Her eyes were terrifying as if someone had seen through him. After a long while, Gu Qingchen smiled coldly. "That $1 million was a bribe you took when you were a middleman for Anjian Real Estate, wasn't it?" Anjian Real Estate. Gu Yuanchuan was surprised when he heard that. He had thought that there was a discrepancy in the accounts, quantity, and price of the wood that Gu Yuangua gave to Anjian real estate. At that time, he just didn't want to make things difficult for his younger brother, therefore, he didn't investigate further. He didn't expect that Gu Yuangua would take so many kickbacks from Anjian real estate. At the same time, Gu Yuangua's heart skipped a beat, and the way he looked at Gu Qingchen became strange. How did she know about this? Only he and the person in charge of purchasing from Anjian real estate knew about this. No one else knew about it, but Gu Qingchen knew so clearly. Not only did she know who he was working with, but she also knew the amount of money. This was too terrifying. No, that's impossible, how did you know? Gu Yuangua was so shocked that he forgot to cover it up and blurted it out. When Dong Guiyun heard it, she immediately flew into a rage and grabbed Gu Yuangua. Several bloody marks appeared on Gu Yuangua's face. The pain on his face finally woke Gu Yuangua up. Chapter 46. The former Prince Charming and Gu You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 46. The former Prince Charming and Gu. No, it's not like that. Honey, listen to me, let me explain. You scum, how dare you do so many things behind my back? Tell me, what else did you lie to me about? Tell me, if you don't tell me clearly today, I'll teach you a lesson. A fierce battle had just begun. Dong Guiyun punched and kicked Gu Yuangua while Gu Yuangua kept evading. Gu Qingchen watched coldly as her second uncle and second aunt fought, but her lips were curled into a sneer. A dogfight. She loved it the most. The two of them fought for a long time. Dong Guiyun was exhausted and finally stopped. Dad, do we have $50,000 at home? Gu Qingchen looked at her father. Gu Yuanchuan looked at his daughter and then nodded. This is the only $50,000 left in the family. His words were filled with disappointment. In the past, he did not take $50,000 seriously. Now, he felt that $50,000 was really heavy. Give it to them. From now on, their family has nothing to do with our family. It was best to cut off ties with these top-notch relatives. At that time, no one was willing to lend a helping hand. If it were not for them, her parents would not have died, and she would not have chosen to harm her own body to earn money that could end her life at any time. Dong Guiyun wanted to say something else, but Gu Qingchen looked at her coldly. This is the last $50,000 in our family. Back then, you only took out $10,000, and the remaining $40,000 shall be considered as sending beggars away. Even though our family went into bankruptcy, our magnanimity is something that you will always look up to. You want to send us away with $50,000. Are you out of your mind? Gu Qingchen's eyes darkened as she looked at Gu Yuangua, who was beaten black and blue by Dong Guiyun. She sneered. I advise you to focus on your man. Be careful that the $1 million will be taken away by other women. It's only $50,000. You can take it or not. Now, you can get out of my house and don't come to my house again. Otherwise, I will beat you up every time I see you. Gu Qingchen's gaze was stern. It really scared Dong Guiyun. At the same time, she thought of the $1 million. Compared to the $1 million, the $50,000 was obviously not comparable. Money was important, but people were more important. She had to watch over her man. Under Gu Qingchen's influence, Gu Yuanchuan seemed to be moved. He and his daughter pushed Dong Guiyun and her husband out of the house. Then, Gu Qingchen slammed the door and let out a long sigh. Turning around, she saw her parents' worried and confused expressions. Gu Qingchen took a deep breath and said with a smile, Dad, Mom, let's eat first. Don't worry about those irrelevant people. We will get through this. Trust me. Gu Yuanchuan composed his emotions. Yes, his daughter was already so strong even though she was not an adult. He could not hold her back. Yes, even the most important thing cannot be compared to eating. Let's eat. Gu Qingchen and her family of 3 sat down to eat again. Although everyone was trying their best to maintain the status quo, Gu Qingchen knew that it was just a facade. And the situation today was just the beginning. She had to think of a way to solve the family's predicament as soon as possible. The next morning, Gu Qingchen finished eating and greeted her parents. She said that she was going to school for make-up lessons and left home. Today was Saturday, so she didn't have to go to school, nor did she have any make-up lessons. Gu Qingchen just wanted to try her luck and find a way to solve her family's difficulties. She could read minds now, so maybe she might have a good opportunity. In the end, she didn't encounter any good opportunities, but she met 2 acquaintances. Shi Wei and Ngu. She had heard from Shi Wei that she was dating Ngu now. She didn't expect to meet her. The world was so small. Ngu, look who it is. It seems to be Gu Qingchen. Isn't her family bankrupt? How dare she come to the shopping mall? Shi Wei said sarcastically as if she was showing off to Gu Qingchen. She even wrapped her arms around Ngi's arm, looking very intimate. Ngu looked at Gu Qingchen with a strange expression, as if he had something to say to Gu Qingchen, but it was not appropriate for him to say it. Gu Qingchen glanced at the 2 of them indifferently. In the past, she had thought that Ngu wasn't bad, but looking at Ngu now, she felt that Ngu was still too immature. She didn't want to think too much about it. Did Ngu confess to her because her family was rich? Even if Ngu wasn't with Shi Wei, she wouldn't choose Ngu. She couldn't explain the reason clearly. Perhaps Ngu wasn't her type. Oh, pretending not to see us. Could it be that you're jealous? I don't like this. Ngu can only be my boyfriend. Shi Wei's words were revealing her status. She said in a coquettish manner, afraid that others wouldn't know that she was a princess. Gu Qingchen glanced at Shi Wei and Ngu and said coldly, narcissism isn't a bad thing, but don't be narcissistic in public. Otherwise, people will laugh at you. You. Gu Qingchen, what right do you have to be arrogant in front of me? Do you think that you are still the young miss of the past? Let me tell you, your family's timber factory has been bought by my family. It's a dream to turn things around. If you make me happy, maybe I can ask my father to relax the repayment period for your father. Gu Qingchen did not expect that her father's creditor had become Shi Wei's father. She clearly remembered that it was not like this in her previous life. It seemed that there were some small changes in this life because of her rebirth. When Ngu heard this, his eyes flickered as if he was thinking of something. He originally wanted to speak up for Gu Qingchen, but now he had shut his mouth and did not speak. It seemed that Gu Qingchen's father really had no way to turn things around. Although Gu Qingchen's conditions were much better than Shi Wei's, her family had already collapsed. He could not stand on the wrong side. If he could make her happy, could Shi Wei's father really return the timber factory to the Gu family? Without even thinking about it, this was not a decision that Shi Wei could make. Let Ngu do the things to make you happy. He should know more about how to make you happy. I still have things to do, so I won't accompany you. Gu Qingchen just ignored the 2 of them. Ngu looked at Gu Qingchen with an indescribable feeling, as if Gu Qingchen was completely different from before. Seeing that Ngu kept staring at Gu Qingchen, Shi Wei immediately grabbed Ngi's arm and said in a coquettish tone, Ngu, let's go to this shopping mall. I saw a very nice outfit that suits you very well. I want to buy it as a gift for you. Ngu heard Shi Wei's words and looked away, looking at Shi Wei tenderly. Wei, I should be the one buying it for you. Shi Wei knew that Ngi's family background was average, so she said, no, I want to buy it for you. Let's go. Ngu seemed to be helpless against Shi Wei and followed Shi Wei into the shopping mall. On the other side, Gu Qingchen was walking aimlessly in the shopping mall. In fact, she did not know what she would do after her rebirth. She just felt that it would be easier to find business opportunities in the shopping mall. At this time, the commercial street was still in its infancy. It was not as prosperous as the later generations. At most, it would be a little bigger than the big market. In fact, Gu Qingchen had also considered buying a store in the commercial street at this time. When it became prosperous in the future, the land price would be different. But now, Gu Qingchen did not have any money. The last $50,000 left in the family was given to her second uncle's family. It was really difficult to move forward. Chapter 47. Rescue arrived. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 47. Rescue arrived. The few of you came back here. Do you regret your decision and want to help Boss Sure again? Gu Qingchen's tone was indifferent, making it impossible for others to guess what she was going to do. Xiang Yang was silent for a moment. He then looked at Gu Qingchen again with a little more vigilance in his eyes. We did kidnap you, but we are not bad people. We did make a wrong decision by leaving just now. If I said that we rushed back to save you, would you believe me? Shi Tian and his men did not subdue Gu Qingchen. Instead, Gu Qingchen had taken them down. They did not want to hurt Gu Qingchen. However, if Gu Qingchen went to the police, they would be charged with kidnapping. It would be enough to make them suffer. Therefore, Xiang Yang decided to talk to Gu Qingchen before she made a decision. Perhaps there would be a chance to save themselves. Wen Qing was also anxious and quickly interrupted, Ms. Gu, we're really not bad people. That Shi Tian only ordered us to bring you here. I need money for my wife and my child's surgery. If it weren't for the emergency, we definitely wouldn't do such a thing. Gu Qingchen had already read about their situation. Wen Qing did not lie. His wife and child were currently in the hospital. He desperately needed the money for their surgery. They were already on their way, but they did not feel at ease. In the end, Wen Qing slapped his thigh and said that if they used the money to treat his wife and child, even if they were really cured, they would still feel uneasy. After Wen Qing said that, the others agreed and hurried back, hoping that they could make it in time. They thought that they could not make it, but who knew that after they entered, they would be dumbfounded when they saw the scene inside. Gu Qingchen nodded and looked at Wen Qing and Xiang Yang. So. Wen Qing was stunned. He opened his mouth but could not spit out a word. That's right. Although they did not want to hurt Gu Qingchen, they were the ones who captured her and ran away. If it had been anyone else, even if they had rushed back, they would have been disfigured by Shi Tian. As he thought of this, he could not bring himself to plead for mercy. Xiang Yang took a deep breath as if he had made an important decision. This is our fault. We have to bear the responsibility. However, Wen Qing's wife and child are still waiting for surgery, and the other brothers were brought here by me. If Ms. Gu wants to call the police, I hope that Ms. Gu will let them go. I will bear all the responsibility alone. No, boss, this is my fault. How can I let you bear it alone? No. Yes, boss, we're all here voluntarily. You didn't force us at all. Let's go to jail together. That's right. We're brothers. We can't let you bear the responsibility alone. Xiang Yang looked at her brothers emotionally. It was all worth it to have brothers like them. Suddenly, they heard the sound of a police car approaching. Wen Qing and the others were instantly nervous. Gu Qingchen was also a little surprised. She did not expect the police to come back. The only person who did not change his expression was Rongyu, who was sitting there steadily. Gu Qingchen looked in Rongyu's direction. Rongyu only gave her a faint smile and did not say anything. However, Gu Qingchen felt that Rongyu was the reason why the police came so quickly. Soon, a group of police officers rushed in. Butler Qin was in the lead, and behind Butler Qin was the white-haired Dr. Hua. Dr. Hua looked nervous, and his footsteps were a little quick. Compared to Dr. Hua, Butler Qin was much calmer. After rushing in, Butler Chin rushed straight in Rong Yu's direction. He nodded at Rong Yu and said, "Young master. You came on time." Butler Chin still had the same respectful expression. He turned his head and gave a signal to the outside. Immediately, someone pushed a wheelchair over. Rong Yu got up and sat back in the wheelchair. On the other side, a neatly dressed police officer immediately came forward. He bent slightly and wiped the sweat off his head. He said apologetically, "Young Master Rong, I've failed you. Chief Sheng, it seems that the security of City Y still needs to be improved. I didn't expect that I would be kidnapped not long after I arrived." His words were neither salty nor indifferent. One could not tell whether he was happy or angry. Even so, there was not a single harsh word. Chief Sheng was sweating profusely. He was nervous. He even chose his words carefully, afraid that he would say something wrong. "Young Master Rong, it's my fault for not being strict enough. It's my fault for causing such a problem in my district. I will definitely strengthen the security management later. This situation will definitely not happen again. I hope that you can forgive me, young Master Rong." Chef Sheng was nervous. When he spoke, he was also secretly looking at Rong Yu. However, he could not understand Rong Yu's thoughts, so he was a little anxious. He really did not know why these people would dare to kidnap Rong Yu. Either their heads were squeezed by the door, or they were kicked by a donkey. After Chef Sheng felt that it had been centuries before Rong Yu spoke again, "The person who needs to forgive you is not me, it's her." Chef Sheng was slightly stunned. He followed Rong Yu's line of sight and saw the only girl standing in the crowd. This girl did not look frightened at all. She stood there very calmly. Chef Sheng immediately understood. It seemed that today's incident was caused by this girl. In other words, this girl was the one who was kidnapped. Young Master Rong was implicated by her. From young Master Rong's attitude, this girl definitely held a lot of weight in young Master Rong's heart. Young Master Rong was famous for not getting close to women and didn't have any women by his side. Now that this girl was able to gain young Master Rong's favor, it was definitely a sign that she would turn from a sparrow into a phoenix. Chef Sheng quickly walked towards Gu Qingchen and said to her in a gentle voice, "How should I address you, young lady?" Gu Qingchen. Gu Qingchen's reply was very concise. She had just glanced at Chef Sheng and she had a rough idea of what Chef Sheng was thinking. Chef Sheng was really thinking too much. Her relationship with Rong Yu was not what he had imagined. "Ms. Gu, you must have been frightened today. I didn't expect such a thing to happen. Don't worry, we will definitely deal with the person who kidnapped you and give you a satisfactory answer. I hope that Ms. Gu can understand our difficulties. We didn't want this to happen. Sigh, catching criminals is easy, but preventing crimes is difficult." His words were sincere, with a hint of helplessness and complaint. Gu Qingchen knew that Chef Sheng was just trying to show that she was wronged. It was easy for them to catch criminals, but it was difficult to prevent others from committing crimes. "You're too kind. To be able to come here so quickly, I can see that you still care about the people. The person who kidnapped me is over there. I'll bring you there." Chef Sheng saw that Gu Qingchen did not blame her. Instead, she was considerate of him. A huge weight was lifted from his heart. Fortunately, this girl was easy to talk to. Otherwise, he was really worried that he would lose his position as chef. Chapter 48. Gu Qingchen's Thoughts. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 48. Gu Qingchen's thoughts. Under the guidance of Gu Qingchen, a few police officers subdued Shi Tian, who was still convulsing, and handcuffed him. The rest of his men were also arrested. Xiang Yang, Wen Qing, and the others stood there, looking a little nervous. They did not know what to do. Chef Sheng's eyes were sharp. When he saw Xiang Yang and the others, he pointed at them and asked Gu Qingchen, "Ms. Gu, are they the ones who kidnapped you as well?" As soon as Chef Xing finished his sentence, Xiang Yang and the others straightened their backs. The moment Xiang Yang took a step forward, Gu Qingchen said plainly, "No. They are here to save us. If it weren't for them, young Master Rong and I would be lying on the ground right now." Xiang Yang stopped in his tracks and looked at Gu Qingchen in shock. Did he hear it wrong? Gu Qingchen did not report them and even said that they were here to save her. For a moment, Xiang Yang did not understand what Gu Qingchen meant. However, one thing was for sure. He and his brothers owed Gu Qingchen a huge favor. Gu Qingchen's words changed the lives of these people. Both Xiang Yang and Wen Qing were extremely shocked. Wen Qing even had tears in his eyes. He felt a little embarrassed and turned his head away. Chef Zheng was also stunned. In his eyes, Xiang Yang and the others looked like accomplices. He did not expect them to be here to save people. Chef Zheng walked to Xiang Yang and reached out his hand. Xiang Yang only blinked for a moment before shaking Chef Zheng's hand. "Sir, thank you very much. Nowadays, there are fewer and fewer good citizens like you. I will definitely apply for a Good Citizen Award for you." Xiang Yang's face was burning like fire, but he was too embarrassed to tell the truth. He could only say, "No need, no need. We didn't do anything." Chef Zheng naturally thought that Xiang Yang was being modest. What a joke. These people had saved Gu Qingchen and young Master Rong. If he didn't give them a big reward, it would be disrespectful to young Master Rong. Therefore, he had to give Xiang Yang and his men a huge reward in a high-profile manner. After cleaning up the mess here, Chef Zheng wanted to see Rong Yu off personally, but was directly rejected by Butler Qin. Chef Zheng could not continue to follow, so he led the team back. Although young Master Rong did not participate in the follow-up, Chef Zheng still had to do it beautifully. That Shi Tian was a businessman in the timber business, but he actually caused such a big mess in his territory. That meant that he did not give him face. If Chef Zheng did not punish Shi Tian properly, how would he be able to be a police chief in City Y? This time, Shi Tian was in trouble. He was in big trouble. If he had only kidnapped Gu Qingchen and no one died, it would not have been a big deal. He could have used money to smooth things over. However, Xiang Yang and the rest had brought Rong Yu along. Hence, Shi Tian was the scapegoat. Thinking about it, Shi Tian was really unlucky. He had been scammed by his accomplices, and then he had been dealt with by Gu Qingchen. This time, he had definitely lost both his wife and his soldiers. If he was not careful, he would have lost his life. Gu Qingchen only left after most of the people had left. Dr. Hua was relieved to see that his disciple was fine, so he went back first. Wen Qing went to the hospital first, while Xiang Yang and the others followed Gu Qingchen. It was obvious that they had something to say to Gu Qingchen. Finally, there was no one else around. After Gu Qingchen returned to the city, she chose a restaurant and wanted to treat Xiang Yang and the others to dinner. Xiang Yang and the rest were flattered. They originally needed to go to the police station to assist in the investigation, but because of Rong Yu, only Shi Tian and the men who were beaten up by Gu Qingchen went to the police station in the end. The restaurant was just an ordinary restaurant, but for the sake of convenience, Gu Qingchen asked for a private room. At this moment, Gu Qingchen, Xiang Yang, and his brothers were sitting in the private room with food on the table. "You. Why did you help us? If it weren't for us, you wouldn't have been kidnapped." Xiang Yang hesitated for a moment before asking. Gu Qingchen chuckled and took a sip of tea before saying, "Even without you guys, would have been kidnapped today. Moreover, if it weren't for you guys, how could Shi Tian be captured?" Gu Qingchen spoke meaningfully. Indeed, if Shi Tian had hired those desperados and had guns in his hands, it would have been even harder for her to escape today. "We owe you a favor. If that's anything that we can help you in the future, we will definitely do our best." Xiang Yang made a solemn gesture, and the others agreed. That's right. Ms. Gu, you have saved us today, and Wen Qing's wife and child. From now on, your problems are our problems. As long as you call for us, we will go through fire and water. The person who agreed was nicknamed Little Bean, because he was short. Gu Qingchen looked at the crowd and said with a faint smile, the relationship between you brothers is really good. Little Bean patted his chest and said cheerfully, that's for sure. We all grew up in an orphanage and have no family since we were young. We rely on each other when we were growing up. We are closer than family. Gu Qingchen suddenly realized that this was the reason why they were so close to each other. She found it funny when she thought about it. The feelings between people who were not related by blood were sometimes even closer than those who were related by blood. Xiang Yang and the others were all friendly and warm people. Soon, they were no longer restrained and started chatting happily with Gu Qingchen. Little Bean and the others were impressed by Gu Qingchen's magnanimity. They all felt that Gu Qingchen would definitely be an extraordinary person in the future. They could see that the person who could make the chief personally take action and be so polite to them was definitely not an ordinary person. Halfway through the meal, Xiang Yang's pager rang. At this time, there were very few people who had a mobile phone. Having a pager was already very luxurious. Xiang Yang took a look and suddenly became serious. Something happened to Wen Qing. We have to go to the hospital immediately. Gu Qingchen had just glanced at it. The pager was full of numbers. It seemed that they had their own set of contact codes. They were pretty smart. Little Bean heard it and immediately stood up. He asked nervously, "Boss, is there something wrong with Wen Qing's wife? Didn't he bring the money with him? Is the hospital not going to treat her? I'm not sure about the situation either. We have to go there first." Ms. Gu, look. Initially, they were indebted to Gu Qingchen and should not have left now. However, they could not just leave Wen Qing alone. Gu Qingchen thought for a moment and said, "I'm going with you guys." Xiang Yang did not expect Gu Qingchen to go with her. However, he nodded and said, "Okay, let's go take a look first. We'll definitely continue the dinner." Gu Qingchen only smiled. She did not need these people to accompany her for dinner. What she needed was. Chapter 49. Quarrel in the Ward. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 49. Quarrel in the Ward. They took a taxi to City Wife's second hospital and went straight to the ward where Wen Qing's wife was. However, just as they reached the corridor outside the ward, they heard the sound of an argument inside. "You guys are going too far. Does the hospital get to do whatever it wants? It should be our turn now, but you guys have given the corneas to someone else." "Oh, I know now. Did you guys receive bribe from someone else? Is that why you gave the corneas to someone else? I'm rich too. I'm rich now. Here's 50,000. If it's not enough, I'll think of another way, but please treat my son first." Wen Qing's voice was heard from the other end. His tone was very agitated and a little anxious. "I've already said it just now. The corneas have already been given to another patient. Right now, the patient is undergoing surgery in the operating theater. Our hospital is transparent and will not accept bribe. You better not slander us. Otherwise, we have the right to pursue it. If you want to blame someone, blame yourself for paying late. It has nothing to do with our hospital. Alright, don't make a scene here. Even if you make a scene today, your corneas will be gone." The doctor's tone was stiff, and there was a hint of contempt in it. "Liar. When I went to pay the money just now, there was clearly no surgery over there. You must have taken their money. Isn't the hospital a place to treat patients and save people? Aren't you afraid of retribution for doing this?" Wen Qing was a little out of control. He had already gone through a lot today. Fortunately, Gu Qingchen did not pursue their responsibility of kidnapping her. Otherwise, they would have been in prison by now. The few brothers took a risk to raise the money and he finally had hope. However, he found that the hospital had completely cut off his hope. Wen Qin could not take it anymore and was on the verge of collapse. Let me tell you, don't make a scene here. There are other patients here. Don't disturb their rest. If you still don't want to listen, I'll call security. If you don't have the money for the surgery, then don't occupy the hospital bed here. Isn't this like standing in the toilet and not taking a dump? The doctor's words were very rude. He clearly told Wen Qin that if he continued to make a scene, their hospital would directly chase him away. What the F***ck, are you still a doctor? How can you say that? You deserve a beating. Little Bean flew into rage. He was the first to rush into the ward. As he saw the man in a white coat, he immediately threw a punch. All of a sudden, the ward was in chaos. When Xiang Yang and Gu Qingchen entered the ward, they only saw the cold and proud doctor hiding behind the family members of the other patients and using them as a shield. The doctor's face was already stained. It was Little Bean who hit him. Security, security. Quickly call security, there are thugs here. The doctor held a family member with both hands and blocked in front of him. Little Bean did not want to hurt innocent people and was so angry that he gritted his teeth. D***mnu, weren't you quite arrogant just now? Why are you hiding behind them now? Come out now. If I don't beat you up until your mom can't recognize you, I won't be called Little Bean. Don't just watch the show. Hurry up and call for help. These people are all thugs. When they go crazy, it'll be bad. When Little Bean wasn't paying attention, the doctor pressed the call button. Xiang Yang frowned and quickly went forward to pull Little Bean back. He said in a deep voice, Little Bean, don't make a scene. This isn't a place for you to be impulsive. Xiang Yang was still relatively calm. When he had a conflict with the doctor in the hospital, he was the only one who was unlucky. As expected, the hospital's security guards came in very quickly. When the doctor saw them, he immediately came out from behind the family members and stood over. Then, he pointed at Little Bean and the others and said angrily, it's these people. They are a bunch of hooligans. They don't have money to treat the illness and are still acting shamelessly here. They even hit me. Arrest them all. I want to call the police. Little Bean looked at the doctor's face and the anger that he had just suppressed flared up again. Who the hell are you calling a hooligan? You're the hooligan in the white coat. For a moment, they actually started to scold each other again, and it became more and more noisy. The security guards of the hospital saw that there were many people like Little Bean, so they did not dare to act rashly. Someone secretly called the police. Gu Qingchen had been standing in the corner the whole time. She could not help but hold her forehead. What day was it today? She had to see the police twice in one day. The police came very quickly. In less than 5 minutes, a few police officers had arrived. Seeing that the police had arrived, the ward was finally quiet. The family members of the other patients had long left with their own family members to avoid getting into a fight and causing collateral damage. What's going on here? What's all the noise about? A police officer spoke. His voice was relatively loud, but he was able to keep the situation under control. When the doctor who had been beaten saw the police, it was as if he had seen his family. He directly rushed over and pointed at Little Bean while crying, Officer, you came at the right time. This person and these people, I don't know who they are. They hit me. Look, my face is swollen from the beating. Hurry up and arrest these people. It will seriously affect the order of our hospital. Also, I want to sue them. They will also have to pay for my medical fees and mental damage compensation. The doctor rambled on. Even Gu Qingchen was a little annoyed. Her eyes were full of impatience. In fact, she was hostile to the people in white coats. There was nothing she could do. This was the side effect of her frequent drug trials. Anyway, she did not have a good impression of these doctors in white coats. If it weren't for the fact that Dr. Hua was a traditional Chinese medicine practitioner and he never wore a white coat, she wouldn't have taken Dr. Hua as her teacher even if she was beaten to death. Cut the crap. Let's just keep it simple. How much do you want? Gu Qingchen suddenly spoke from the corner. Her voice was cold, and just as the doctor finished speaking, it sounded particularly abrupt. Everyone looked at Gu Qingchen. The doctor who was beaten also looked at Gu Qingchen. Seeing that she was only a child, he snorted coldly, "I want at least $2,000. What? 2,000, you're robbing us." When Little Bean heard this, he immediately cried out in surprise. In 1996, a month's salary was only $300 to $400, and this doctor was asking for several months' salary. It was even more ruthless than robbery. What? You can't afford it. Humph, if you don't pay up, I'll sue you until you go to jail. With the police by his side, the doctor was much bolder and started to feel proud again. Gu Qingchen was expressionless. She took out $2,000 from her bag and threw it directly at the face of the doctor who got beaten. Her actions were clean and neat. Hundreds of bills were scattered down one by one. The handsome action of throwing money was really charming. Here's $2,000. I've given you all the claims you wanted. Now, let's talk about our losses and the amount of compensation you have to pay. Gu Qingchen spoke calmly, full of vigor. Just one look was enough to make people feel domineering. Little Bean was about to give Gu Qingchen a thumbs up. He immediately straightened his back and said loudly, "Yes. Let's talk about our losses and your compensation." Chapter 50. Dealing with the doctor. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 50. Dealing with the doctor who got beaten was really shocked by Gu Qingchen's words and her domineering action of throwing money. His was a little confused. Compensation? What do you mean? It's you guys who are causing trouble. What has it got to do with me? Gu Qingchen sneered. Others might not know, but she knew it very well. This hospital had done some shady things. When Wen Qin brought the money over, he was completely in time to arrange for his son's surgery. However, because a few doctors had taken money from another family, they had cut in front of Wen Qin's son. If Gu Qingchen had not read this from the doctor's mind, she would not have used such a method to confront the doctor. Hee. Gu Qingchen only chuckled and looked at Little Bean. Little Bean, go to the hospital's counter now. If there are people paying for the corneal transplant, stop them. Little Bean did not know why Gu Qingchen said that, but he still listened to her instructions. She immediately ran down and stood at the cashier. Xiang Yang quickly understood what Gu Qingchen meant and fell into deep thought. So, the person who was going to do the surgery had not paid yet. If they did not pay, this matter would be 100% the hospital's responsibility. The doctor was instantly stunned, and his body stiffened. The reason why he came over was to stall for time and keep Wen Qin here so that he would not create more trouble when the time came. However, he did not expect this girl to be so vicious. She immediately grasped the key point. If they really investigated, the doctors who had received the money would be finished. "Officer, look at my face. I have to treat my wounds now. I'll leave these thugs to you." He had to go and inform them to prevent any accidents from happening. "Wait, Dr. Liu, are you thinking of leaving already? I'm afraid it's not appropriate. I think it's better for you to stay." Wen Qin also understood. He immediately stood in front of the door and blocked Dr. Liu, the doctor who had got beaten up. Dr. Liu suddenly felt that he was in a dilemma. The few police officers who had come over finally realized that they had been stunned by the scene of Gu Qingchen throwing money at them. They came back to their senses and quickly went forward. "Ms. Gu. Why are you here?" One of the police officers spoke in a friendly manner, which was a perfect contrast to his cold expression before. Gu Qingchen carefully sized up the person who spoke, then the officer smiled and said, Ms. Gu, you definitely don't know me. I only followed Chief Sheng to arrest Shi Tian, so I know you. If you have any trouble, we will definitely solve it for you. The officer patted his chest and said firmly. What kind of joke was this? Gu Qingchen was the person that even Chief Sheng had to curry favor with. How could they dare to disrespect her? Although Gu Qingchen did not remember this person, she also understood. Previously, those people were all injured by her, and Shi Tian was convulsing from Rong Yu's stab. He was foaming at the mouth. Even if the police wanted to bring these people to the police station, they had to heal them up first. That was why the police brought them to the hospital. This was also why the police arrived not long after someone called for them. This time, Dr. Liu was completely stunned. He was the one who called for the police. Why did it seem like these police officers were in cahoots with Gu Qingchen? It was over. This time, it was completely over. Dr. Liu's mind was buzzing, and cold sweat was dripping down. He only felt that his mind was blank. Gu Qingchen smiled kindly at the police officers and said amiably, It is our honor to have such outstanding police officers like you in City Y. You guys are working hard to seek justice for our people. We are so glad to have you guys. The few police officers were quite happy when they heard the compliments. It's our duty to serve the people. Don't worry, Ms. Gu. If someone uses his position to do something shameful, we will definitely not let him off easily. These police officers were all veterans. They had only been here for a short while. After listening to the words of both parties, they had a rough idea of what exactly happened. Gu Qingchen smiled and nodded, Thank you. After saying that, Gu Qingchen turned to look at Dr. Liu. Her eyes did not move, and her voice was clear, Dr. Liu, I have given you the compensation you want. But if we prove that you have indeed violated the rules, you will have to compensate more than $2,000. This light sentence was like a muffled thunder that struck Dr. Liu hard in his heart. Although there were many briberies in the hospital, the bad behavior of people like Dr. Liu was not worthy of forgiveness. If the workers in the hospital were like them who only saved people who paid extra money, wouldn't the other people wait for death? Very quickly, Little Bean dragged a person up. The two of them pulled and pulled at each other as if they were very unhappy. Ms. Gu, I've caught the person. It's him. He was just about to pay the surgery fee for the corneal transplant, but I caught him. Seeing the person who paid the fee was caught, Dr. Liu's heart turned cold. When the person who paid the fee saw Dr. Liu, he was instantly unhappy. Dr. Liu, what do you mean? My precious daughter is still waiting for the surgery. Dr. Liu could only wink at him. Oh, you are the family member of the girl who was involved in the car accident, right? It's fine, it's fine. You can go and pay the bill first. It's just a small misunderstanding here. Dr. Liu tried to send him away so that he would not really say anything that he should not say later. Wait, sir. Hello. We are the police. We may need a few minutes of your time. We have something to ask you. Please cooperate with the investigation. This time, the patient noticed that there were police officers in the room. When he entered the room, he did not see the police because there were many people in the room. What? What investigation? I didn't do anything. The police still did not let him leave. They then asked him everything. When Qing finally calmed down, he honestly told them what happened. The matter was very simple. He raised money to give his son a cornea transplant. In the end, a few doctors received a bribe and gave the cornea that was supposed to be given to his son to someone else. The doctor said that Wen Qing was late to pay for the surgery, but in reality, when Wen Qing went to pay the fee, the other family members had not paid the fee yet. The police were very efficient in handling matters. They quickly investigated the case, as well as finding some evidence. Obviously, it was the responsibility of the few doctors. In the end, the hospital director was alarmed and rushed over. He also called the few doctors who had received the money over. He promised the police and the family members repeatedly that he would deal with this matter seriously. When Qing's son was finally sent to the operating theater and was operated by another group of doctors. Although the family who cut the queue was unwilling and tried to stop them, they could only compromise in the end. The police officer said that if his family tried to stop them again, they would be charged for obstructing official person in performing official duties. They had already violated the rules by giving bribe to the doctors and trying to steal the corneas of other people. They could only bear with it since they were in the wrong. However, his family members looked at Gu Qingchen and the others with hatred in their eyes. Gu Qingchen did not care about it. When the unrelated people left, only Gu Qingchen and Xiang Yang were left, when Qing suddenly knelt down to Gu Qingchen.